Hey, new Jeff Middle STEAM students. My name is Craig Adams. I work with the Columbia STEM Alliance, and part of my history with Jeff Middle is actually taught there for about 24, 25 years. I started back in 1988. I know a lot of history of the building. Um, as a shop teacher, that was kind of my hobby, is finding out what the building was all about and where it started and when it started and things like that. So I've got a lot of great stories about the history of the building, but a lot of it is related to folklore. For instance, there is no tunnel to Hickman. No matter how cool it would be and how many people have told you that they've seen it, there is no tunnel to Hickman. Hickman was built in 1927, and prior to that, Jeff Middle was Jeff Jeff Jr. when I was there, but before that, it was Columbia High School. Um, you know, that building is actually the third building on that property. There were two other schools prior to that. That's the oldest property that Columbia Public Schools owns, is Jeff Middle property. But prior to that, when it was first started in 1910, it was Columbia High School. And actually, when you look at Hickman's helmets, it says CHS for their football helmets, and that represents Columbia High School, which pays homage to that building. But there was there was no reason for that there to be a tunnel going to a building that wasn't there. In fact, that is kind of a cool area because that used to be the fairgrounds, and there was horse races up there where the track is, where Hickman is right now. Piece of folklore, that you might hear is, that Paco the ghost lives on third floor. Well, I've never seen Paco. I'm not sure if Paco really exists, but I think that whole story started back in the 60s. There was a police report where some kids called the police saying that there was a body hanging somewhere in the auditorium, and they came over, and of course they couldn't find anything. Well, they think the body turned out to be the actual curtains in the building, but Paco was born shortly after that. One piece of folklore that might be true is Mr. Schrader might be old enough to be the first student back when it was Columbia High School. I don't know. Nobody's actually ever seen Mr. Schrader's birth certificate, but it's possible that he is that old. The building itself is really cool. There's little kind of cool points that you can look at. In fact, one thing is the old three-story part, Jeff Middle, that was separate than the auditorium. The auditorium was a separate building, so there used to be, you'd have to go, when you left Jeff Middle, the building, you would go outside to the auditorium, and that was not connected until 1956 when they built that, when they connected all that. If you go down the main hallway, if you look on the east side of the hallway, there's all those lockers. Well, behind those lockers are windows. There are windows that are still there. There are window openings that are still there that you can actually still see. There's just a lot of cool things about the building. There's a lot of great things about the faculty too. It's probably my favorite time when I look back and I remember teaching. That's my favorite time, was being at Jeff Middle. The people there are great. That's the part of the history that hasn't changed. This faculty are still amazing, and if there's anything I can do as a community member, part of the STEM Alliance, or just as a former teacher, giving tours and talking about history, those kinds of things, please keep me in mind. I love that building. I love that staff. And thank you for letting me be a part of this video. Bye-bye.